Today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp.com, and I've been with them for a long time. BetterHelp is an online platform where we found that you can effectively communicate with your therapist. Now, you begin by filling out a questionnaire, and then you'll be matched with a therapist within a couple of days. And if that match isn't ideal for you, you can certainly make an adjustment there. Now, you're going to be encouraged to journal, and also they have the availability for group therapy on a wide array of topics, and I really like that. So as the need exists, go ahead and take the necessary steps to get the help that you need. And just know that BetterHelp has a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot, so it indeed is a platform you can trust. There's a link below the video that will take you there. I know that so many of you are very weary when it comes to you trying to figure out what you're going to do in response to the narcissist, because they can keep coming at you with demands and control and the craving for power and their attitude of entitlement, and somehow you're constantly the blame for whatever problems they have. I mean, you know what the score is. It's important for you to understand what's going on behind the scenes in that narcissist mindset, because inevitably they want to make sure that when there's a difference or a conflict or a strain that comes between you and them, there's one person who's going to take all the blame, and it's not going to be them. You've been on the receiving end of so much of their vitriol and so much of their smear campaign, and sometimes you can walk away thinking, am I the crazy one here? Am I that dysfunctional that I just can't get along with these individuals? And the answer is no. You're dealing with somebody who cannot cope with life. One of the things that's necessary for you to understand about the pattern of narcissism is it's built upon a fantasy. These individuals operate with what we refer to as alternate reality. They've concocted a story of how things are supposed to be, and in doing so, it sets them up to have an escapist kind of mindset towards life. They want to make sure that they don't have to deal with the common problems that the rest of you poor slobs out there have to come to terms with. They want to escape all sorts of stresses and strains. And of course, it sets up a set of expectations that are not sustainable. But they think, well, I want a free pass. I want a free pass from anybody who's going to try to make me confront reality such as it is. I don't want to have to struggle and strain. And of course, what this does is it sets up their own narcissistic collapse, but somehow they blame you for all of it. What is it that a narcissist wishes to escape? Well, let's talk about that. There are multiple things. First, one of the things is they think to themselves, well, I want to escape being rejected. I don't want to have anybody out there think poorly about me, and they're shocked when you do reject them. And so they want your admiration, they want your affirmation, and they cannot stand it when someone comes along and says, I'm sorry, but I'm just not on the same team as you. Now, that happens to all of us, unfortunately, but the narcissist likes to think, well, I don't want that to happen to me. In addition, they want your total agreement. As far as they're concerned, you're not allowed to have your own distinct opinions, and they cannot manage your uniqueness. They want to escape having to come to terms with somebody who thinks and prioritizes differently, especially when those differences are going to be rather permanent. Also, they want to escape from any kind of personal struggles. They want their life to be stress-free. For example, if they say, here's the way it needs to be, they just want folks to say, well, okay, I guess I'll just go along with that. Or if they have an interpretation, they don't want anybody to come along and say, well, there's a different way of looking at this. They want to have no struggle. They want to have no wrestling with some of the more difficult aspects of life. They want to escape, and they want to be free from inconveniences. Whether it's them being in traffic or having to deal with bad weather or to handle problems at work that pop up that they weren't expecting that day, or dealing with little kids that just don't seem to want to stay on track. I mean, the possibilities are endless. But it's like, no, I don't want inconveniences. Do you understand? This is me, and you're not allowed to bring inconveniences into my world. They want to run away from all of that. They certainly want to hide their own failures or mistakes, or if they do have failures or mistakes that are glaringly obvious, they want to reframe it. That's another way they try to escape. It's like, no, don't hold me responsible for me. I want to run away from all of that. Another thing they want to escape is they want to escape just common worries. I mean, you and I, from time to time, we may have concerns about things going on inside the family or friendships that just aren't playing out the way we want. It may be money issues. It may be the schedule's not playing out. It may be that the person you voted for didn't come through the way you wanted. Who knows? But it's like, I don't want to have to deal with all that stuff. Just make it all go away. Another thing they want to escape is they want to sidestep people who have needs. If you come along and say, I'm struggling, I have issues, and I'm hurting, I don't know what to do. The narcissist is like, do I have to deal with something like this too? That's too inconvenient. And empathy and humility and helpfulness and servitude is in short supply with these individuals. I mean, they might try to do some things on the surface to try to make themselves look better, but the bottom line is, no, I don't want to continue to have to do that. They certainly want to run away from complexity. That's another thing they want to escape. When you get to know groups of people, you realize, well, there's just a whole lot of ways that they don't act and prioritize in the same as you. But their thinking is, look, just do what I say. Let's just get rid of these complexities. Or they want you to conform and blend as opposed to them having to harmonize. Any kind of difference from you is just not part of their plan. So really, when differences and strains come along between you and that narcissist, they're going to be just like the little self-absorbed child that says, I want what I want, and I want it right now, and I'm going to throw a temper tantrum if I don't get what I want, and they go into a fantasy. Now, when a 7-year-old child thinks that way, you think, well, eventually they'll grow up and realize that's not the way it works. But the adult narcissist is more or less implying, I haven't gotten out of that. I'm too weak. I'm too incompetent to manage life on its own terms. I have to have the final word. I want to escape all of the strains and difficulty that come with being a responsible adult. Now, when they have this escapist mindset, this sets up so much of the difficulty that they blame you for. For example, it sets them up to be woefully, strongly angry toward you. It's like when you don't get with the program and you say, we need to face hard reality and some difficulties. It's like, how dare you try to bring some things to me? And so they can be very overwhelming in their anger. They can hold you in contempt. And you know that with so many narcissists, there's just one false statement that you can make that's going to set off their anger. It's just right there under the surface. It's like nobody does things to me that is going to inconvenience me. It sets them up to look for scapegoats, someone to blame, someone to put the fault onto. It sets them up to be perpetually defensive. If you come along and say, hey, there's a perspective I'd like you to hear, they can't hear it. They don't want to receive any kind of input. Instead, they do the victim blaming. They victimize you, and then they blame you for having bad reactions. It sets them up to have a lack of patience. They cannot be patient. When you're trying to manage life in a much healthier way, sometimes you just kind of have to flow with some things for a while that just require patience. They won't listen. That's part of their lack of empathy. As part of their fantasy mindset and escapist mindset, they're prone towards lies and deception and cover up and dishonesty, because it's like, no, if I go too much into the honesty category, that's not going to help my cause any. So they're psychologically evasive. They're slippery when you try to pin them down with respect to things that they need to admit. And they operate with a chronic attitude of insistence. I insist. I'm coercing you into trying to make you be the kind of person I want you to be, so they can come across as highly controlling and all. And all the while, they won't say this out loud, but they illustrate, I have my fantasies, and I'm going to fall apart when my fantasies don't come through. I want to escape having to deal with life as it is. So this tells me as a therapist that these individuals are in chronic pain, they're in chronic confusion, and their coping skills are so weak that their only pain management skill is to force you into compliance because, like I say, they just can't cope with life. Now, there are multiple implications that this has for you, and one of the first things is I'm hoping you can realize you'll never measure up to that person. And so when they come towards you with their judgments and with their criticisms, rather than collapsing, it's like, okay, I accept the fact that in their fantasy escapist kind of mindset, anything that I bring up or illustrate that says, well, I'm not inside your program, you'll never measure up. That being the case, another thought you want to hold on to is you'll need to just cease your efforts to try to pull them into reality. Their attitude of alternate reality is so strong, it's so entrenched that it becomes almost subconscious in its repetition. They're committed to non-truth. And then also realize you are going to be the recipient of lots of blame and lots of rejection. When that happens, consider the source and move on. You're going to need to individualize your own personal healthiness because they're not going to assist you along the way. Narcissism is in and of itself the result of psychological ineptitude. These are individuals who are narrow-minded. They have very little analytical thinking. They just blame and they fantasize. That's what I mean when I say they have this escapist mentality. Now, here on Team Healthy, what we say is, I know there are going to be some things that are going to be less than ideal. And rather than thinking, well, I want to run, I don't want to have to deal with that, I'm going to acknowledge, well, I'm still responsible for me. And rather than blaming and coercing and defending and all the rest, I'm going to ask in the moments of strain and difficulty, who am I and how can I contribute to healthy criteria here? And when that other person chooses not to join me, I'm still going to stay the path. That's what we do on Team Healthy. The narcissist thinks, no, I'm running and I'm blaming you the whole way out the door. And my thinking is run, escape. Don't deal with reality. I'm over here as a realistic person. Looks like we don't have a whole lot in common. I'm going to consider that as I move forward with you or anyone else who thinks like you. Now, I hope that videos like this can give you some good awareness of what you're dealing with. Knowledge is power, and I hope that you can feel empowered to claim your own healthy initiatives. If you have not already hit that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. We're going to keep more videos coming in your direction. You know that I have my sponsors, and one of them is BetterHelp.com. It's an online therapy resource. When you're dealing with something like this, it can be so helpful to get the help that you need. We have the link below that will take you to their website. Please avail yourself to that as the need is there. Also, if you go to my website, you're going to find we have lots of resources there. Primary is I have my courses, and each course has at least 25 teaching videos, handouts, guided questions. We have them on anger and boundaries and finding yourself, having a healthy lifestyle, what that entails. In addition to that, we also have my webinars, and those are 90-minute power presentations that I've presented through the years, and they're available there on the website along with my articles and my books. So we have lots of resources for you. I really appreciate it when you allow me to be on your journey with you. Okay, let's keep in mind, narcissists wish to be escape artists. They can't escape the imperfections of life, but they wish they could, and that's just a setup for their personal collapse. Know that, and then know that they're going to kick you in the shins while they're falling apart. Know that, and then that's why you need to keep your distance from them. But then I'm hoping you can decide, I'm going to be the better alternative. I want to be a person of steadiness. I want to be a person who does take responsibility. And you know what that's going to do for you? It's going to allow you to get further and further towards your place of peace, because it's your way of saying, I have a healthy outlook on life, and I'm going to do it with a sense of reasonableness. Narcissists can't go there with you. I hope nonetheless that you can indeed find your peace.